Eternalism for Beginners, Unit 23, Overview Quiz. Welcome to the Unit 23, Overview Quiz. This short quiz will reinforce your understanding of the Gospel and the philosophy of eternalism. You'll answer 8 true or false questions, each followed by a brief explanation. Then we'll wrap up with our bonus question assignment, comparing the Gospel program of grace and works to the structured process of access and advancement in the Scouting program. In this exercise, there are 8 true or false questions. Question number 1, true or false? Treating grace and works as standalone gospel principles leads to clarity and understanding. Answer, false. Explanation. Separating grace and works from their doctrinal roots leads to conflict and confusion between the two principles. Question number 2, true or false? Grace holds Tier 1 foundational status because it is tied to the Christ-centered nature of the gospel. Answer, true. Explanation. Grace is rooted in the Christ-centered foundation of the gospel, which holds primacy over its covenant-based structure. Question number 3, true or false? Elder Christofferson once referred to God's commandments as the voice of reality. Answer, true. Explanation. In 2010, Elder Christofferson described commandments this way, supporting the gospel's reality-oriented foundation. Question number 4, true or false? The phrase, "We are saved by grace after all we can do," is best understood within a single-tier framework. Answer, false. Explanation. This phrase is best understood within a 3-tier framework, where grace and works operate at different contextual levels. Question number 5, true or false? Eternalism helps resolve the grace versus works debate by using a structured, tiered approach. Answer, true. Explanation. Eternalism uses 2- and 3-tier thinking to clarify how grace and works function in different contexts, reducing confusion. Question number 6, true or false? In the eternalism framework, grace is always Tier 1 and works is always Tier 3. Answer, false. Explanation. Grace holds Tier 1 status in a foundational sense, but in a derivative context, works can hold Tier 2 status over grace at Tier 3, in the sense that grace alone cannot advance you to higher degrees of glory, which must be merited. Question number 7, true or false? Disconnecting grace from works would also require disconnecting Christ from Christ-centered covenants. Answer, true. Explanation. Since grace and works are rooted in the Christ-centered and covenant-based nature of the gospel, separating them would mean separating Christ from covenants, doctrinally unsound. Question number 8, true or false? The gospel principles of grace and works can be fully understood without reference to doctrinal foundations. Answer, false. Explanation. Grace and works arise from the gospel's doctrinal foundations, specifically its Christ-centered and covenant-based nature. Without that context, they appear disconnected and conflicting. Now we turn to our bonus question and assignment, which asked, how does the 3-tier structure of the Scouting program reflect the same access and advancement pattern found in the Gospel program of grace and works, and how does this parallel help clarify the grace versus works relationship? The assignment was simple. Using the same 3-tier template we applied to the Gospel program, fill in that structure for the Scouting program. Next, we'll expand this 3-tier template to fill the full page and introduce 2 key terms, access and advancement, which play central roles in both programs, though in different contexts. To show their importance, let's turn to another chart. As we examine this comparison chart, remember, access refers to access to the program, while advancement refers to advancement within the program, for both Scouting and the Gospel. Starting with the Scouting program, we see that access is freely available, meaning someone else bears the cost, not the scout himself. Advancement, however, is earned and merited, which implies individual effort and personal worthiness. The parallel to the gospel program is clear. Access is also freely available, but in this case, Christ is the one who bears the cost, taking upon himself the sins of the world. Like scouting, advancement within the gospel is also earned and merited, again requiring individual effort and personal worthiness. With these distinctions in mind, let's return to our three-tier template. One cannot advance in the scouting program without first gaining access, so Tier 1 is assigned to access, with the note that the program is freely available to all boys ages 11 to 17. Tier 2 is then assigned to advancement, which is earned and merited through individual effort and personal worthiness. Finally, access appears again at Tier 3, marked with an asterisk to indicate that access alone will not advance you in the program. With this three-tier structure complete for scouting, we can now turn to the gospel program, where the comparison becomes clear. As with the scouting program, both access and advancement are key to the gospel program. Here, Christ's grace and access to the gospel are freely available to all who come unto him, so grace is assigned Tier 1 foundational status. Tier 2 is assigned to works, representing advancement within the gospel, which, like scouting, is earned and merited through individual effort. Grace appears again at Tier 3, marked with an asterisk to show that grace and access alone will not advance you within the program. With this three-tier gospel structure in place, the roles of grace and works, both foundational and derivative, are clear. These program comparisons between scouting and the gospel have shown that the structure of free access, followed by earned advancement, is not only familiar, but deeply instructive. In both cases, someone else bears the cost of entry, whether it's the sponsoring organization in scouting or Christ himself in the gospel. And in both cases, progress and growth require individual effort and personal worthiness. By applying Eternalism's three-tier thinking, we've clarified a long-standing confusion around grace and works. Grace is not in conflict with works. It provides the foundation for meaningful progress. And works do not replace grace. They give it purpose through action. These comparisons reinforce a vital truth. Access may be a gift, but advancement is a journey of progression, one that honors both the giver of grace and the effort of the receiver. It also exemplifies and complements the LDS Third Article of Faith, which states, "We believe that through the atonement of Christ, grace, all mankind may be saved by obedience to the laws and ordinances of the gospel, works." This ends this Unit 23 Overview Quiz. Thank you for watching. Join us for Unit 24 as we continue connecting the dots, tracing the origins of individual rights from existence itself to the institutions that uphold them. In the meantime, make a short list of other institutions or programs that offer free access, but require earned advancement, such as the public school system.